All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to our next conversation. If our correctional centers must truly correct bad behavior, then we must intensify reforms to make them so. As such, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, says the federal government is working hard to accelerate judicial process aimed at ensuring speedy trials for inmates awaiting trial. Tunji-Ojo, who spoke during an unscheduled inspection visit to the Medium Security Custodial Center in Kuje, Abuja, insists that the government is committed to decongesting correctional centers, especially for awaiting trial inmates. The minister said the ministry is working closely with the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation to bridge the gap in the time frame for conviction of inmates. In his remarks, the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Afam Osigwe, said he has requested the data of inmates awaiting trial and to know if there were cases pending against them. Now let's hear from the minister and the NBA president.
We decided to come and see the living condition of inmates, to see and interact with the inmates directly, see what they are going through, listen to them, hear directly from the inmates, even without the CJ. As you know, we wanted to see their well-being, we wanted to see the medical facility, we wanted to see their skill acquisition centers, we wanted to see them actually practicing their skills, and we actually wanted to see the Open University and other facilities.
Something struck me, seeing a man who has been condemned to death teaching over 30 persons tailoring skills. For me, that's rehabilitation. That shows that the essence of a correctional facility is being achieved, to change them and prepare them for society, for integration into society. And that's why I'm living here with a commitment to seek and get the approval of our National Executive Council to set aside a fund, an interest-free loan, or a loan, a grant, to persons who are being released from prison to help them start up a business in life. And we'll do that with our next meeting is next month. And as soon as we get that approval, we'll put that fund in place.
I mean, this is, in fact, a very, very beautiful gesture. But, Kaidi, let's talk about the reform, you know, because 70% of the inmates are awaiting trial. Now, let's talk to us about the reform or the mechanism the federal government is putting in place to ensure these judicial processes for speedy trials, especially for awaiting inmates. Awaiting trial inmates.
There's nothing new here, actually, because I heard the minister and I don't know where to cry or to laugh. Every circle, we go through this. We know the number of people awaiting trials. We know why. There are so many of our laws that were colonial laws that in most other countries, they've been taken out of criminal aspects to civil suits. There are things we've still been taking in Nigeria today when you are sending people to the prison or correctional centers that could be handled by JPs. Some are things that could be handled at a level where they just have what the Americans will call community service.
Community service.
Unless we don't forget that when Professor Shivaji was in Lagos, also set up a particular law to ensure that trials don't go beyond a particular place. But you are looking at the end game here. You are not looking at any when you have something that is skewed. It starts from the point of arrest and what people have been arrested for. Arrest to detainment. What are the process? And what kind of criminal activities is required for you to go to prison. About 4 years ago, Rotary International went around our prisons and they met some people who were arrested for crossing the road. And they've been in prison or correctional center for 7 years. So people who are arrested, they have nobody to bail them out. They're just forgotten there in prison.
And some could be fines.
So that's why I said, unless you start removing certain misdemeanors and treat them as such, you are arrested, you pay fine, can't pay fine, do community service, go. It should not involve detention at all. That's where to start. This is the end. It's like saying that the amola is not sweet when the person bringing the lubo is already
the process and all.
So what the minister is saying is basically at the very end, of the judicial process. We have to start from the beginning.
It's a change.
A lot of people are in prison who are not supposed to be in prison. That's my take. Like I said, I've been doing this in a circle in the last 60 years.
Okay.
People will do the same thing. A new minister will come, will say, tell us the same story, and then we'll go back to where we were. What's the role of the police? What's the role of the local governments? What can they take on? What's the role of the church?
And even the traditional rulers.
Traditional rulers.
Can...
What are the misdemeanors that we can remove from the criminal code and make it civil? That we can return to the obas or traditional rulers where they can educate upon and they'll be backed by the law.
Yes.
What happened to the family of such persons? If somebody is in prison for a week, 2 weeks, with nobody asking for them, why are you still holding them when it is obvious the person doesn't have anybody to cater for them? What's the next step for people like that? What happened to, I don't know what they call it now, juvenile jails? You go to Nigerian prisons and see children, pregnant women in the same cell. Not the same cell with the women, but basically children that will not are supposed to be there.
Custodial center.
So it's one thing to look at the end results and do all these beautiful ideas. My grounds is basically, let's work on it from the beginning. Okay. Let's set a timeline. If a man stole a purse, his case should not be more than 24 hours or 48 hours or 1 week, tops. So once you move beyond that, it's no longer a case. It's basically punishment will have ensued. Okay. How long are you going to spend in prison for stealing a watch? Let's say 6 months. But he has not even been to court in 2 years. So it's what you are holding him beyond even the punishment that's meant to suffer for what he did.
I mean, how do you think these reforms that they're talking about will address the long-standing bottlenecks that he talked about in our criminal justice system?
You know, just for record, you know, for journalists who go to prison, who listen to ministers, who listen to AGF from time to time,
okay,
it's not that we are disregarding what the minister has said, but we are finding it as the only way it can be a top news is for us to see these reforms being carried out.
Exactly.
Because I can imagine being made the Minister of Interior. This is also going to be part of my goals. You understand how to reduce the people on awaiting trials, the inmates and stuff, especially for those of us who have also covered judiciary for some time. So my worry is what he has mentioned. If you listen to him critically, he has mentioned the way out. The reforms like Oshibajo did. Oshibajo did a fantastic job as the State Attorney General. He sat down. He asked Mr. Governor then, the governor, allow me work on these reforms before we get the work started. Part of the things they also look at is to take care of these judges. Part of the things they look at is these judges should be willing to also accelerate cases. When you adjourn a case for the next 3 months, where is that person going to be? He's going to be in a custodial center.
Exactly.
Do you understand? That's those people whose cases are not even being mentioned. What about those that they refuse to even start their case at all? So we have plethora of people who should not be in jail, who should not be in custodial centers that are there. We're not even talking of, you know, how congested the prison is. I'm sure this is one of the pain that the minister is battling with every now and then. It's so sad that even what the person has stole, what we end up spending on him in the prison is far more than what he has stolen. So let there be some easy tribunal that can easily try some petty cases, and let's not include them in the people that are there. So if in the real sense, let's go back to the book. Let's see what we are not implementing. Let's add those new things that every professional, if you put 10 sons here, they can do another reform within 1 hour. We all know what we need to do, but we just need the political will. We need the implementation skills. We need more prisons to also add to it, because we cannot just release criminals on the street without, you know, serving, like they said, is correctional. Let's also hope that that correctional is indeed correctional. because the word prison, which is one of the reforms they are trying to do, the word prison, you know, send a lot of stigma in our society.
Apart from looking at speedy trials, do you think this should also be looked at side by side, the issue of wrongful detention?
Yes, wrongful detention, and that must be deliberate. That must be deliberate because we are fond of doing things to anybody who knows nobody.
Because some it could be, oh, you're wearing your dreads.
Exactly.
Go to, oh,
meanwhile,
you have
if that
a
person
tattoo.
happens to be the son of GKB, for example, that will not happen. You know, by the time you push the call and you tell them this
But the
is
son
GKB,
of a nobody.
that's where we are saying that the police or the prosecuting agency, they have to be more humane. They have to bear in mind that we are creating more hardened criminals when we treat them that way, rather than, you know, putting into perspective that this is about correctional. Even in driving, you will see some law enforcement agents, instead of making you go through the right route, they are waiting
for you to commit the offense.
To commit the offense. And those who cannot afford the amount they are asking for will be put inside.
You're supposed to stop you from
committing the offense. Or your vehicle will be impounded.
But this is your speedy trial. Do you think this initiative would restore public confidence in the justice system?
Like I've said, this is based on experience. There are things we must remove from the criminal code and put them under the civil code.
Case.
Unless we do that, you are just wasting them. For example, even what worker they said, you and I know without saying this in public, the people on death row are many.
Yes.
Our governors ban on, like you said, maybe it's cultural, found it extremely difficult
to sign the death warrant.
There are people in prison, I don't know about now. 5 years ago, the last time I did a thorough report on it, I think there are about 200 or 300 on death row. You know what that means? That means every morning they wake up not knowing whether that's their last day. And governors after governors will refuse to sign the death warrant. I don't know which is bigger punishment. Knowing that you might not see the end of the day, or know that there's governor somewhere who doesn't have the liver to do part of the job. Because being a governor is not only being part of a convoy and then using the siren, it's also taking the hard and tough decisions. One of them is signing
the death warrant.
But Nigerian governors, like you said, it's cultural maybe, found it extremely difficult to sign it. There are people that you and I know that have been sentenced in the last 10 years for things that, under normal circumstances, they ought to have been done with. They are still in prison, still in debt.
But GKB, I think that is, just to quickly put it in context, that is not just cultural, it's a global thing. A lot of people are running away from capital punishment.
If there is law against capital punishment, I agree. But if you are implementing the law,
so why don't you do it?
And they've been sentenced, or some people up to Supreme Court, and then you are not doing them a favor. Imagine the punishment of waking every morning and then the littlest sound is whether the young man is coming. Every day for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The torment is more.
And you think you are doing them a favor and not letting them go and rest.
But you know, in all of this,
I'm just giving an example of why we have congestion.
Okay.
Or the two ends.
Okay, but in all of this,
young people coming in
yes,
that could be reformed without going to prison, that we force into the system, who become hardened. And then, before I go, lack of what they call midway houses in the Nigerian system. Where we copy this from? They have what they call midway houses because they know that coming out of prison, whether you are convicted or not.
All right, GKB, we have Aliu calling in from Lagos. Aliu, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
From
Abuja. Okay,
yes,
let's talk.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
And thank you for the nice job you people are doing. Just want to contribute to the topic you are discussing.
Go ahead.
Especially on this issue of people on death row in our prisons, that the governors refuse to send their execution or something. I really don't know why, after such a long trial from one court to another and something, and then we eventually hit the completion of that process on one single individual. You understand? some cases went as far as to the Supreme Court, and then after wasting everybody's time like that, unfortunately, they get to a point, and you said you have to wait for a governor to sign off on something. Why shouldn't maybe the convicting judges sign off on those people's death something, rather than, because that negates the whole processes. You understand? The police arrest, you take to a trial to the magistrate, from magistrate to high court something, and then now you are now hinging the success of that whole process on one single individual. And then if these governors don't want to set death warrants, most of these laws are their law.
All right,
remove it from there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Let me play the devil's advocate for the governors. They might just want to look at it from, oh, they don't want to, maybe they don't trust the way investigation was done. But that's that for them. But we need to go on this quick break, and when we return, the this is still Journalist Hangout. I still have GKB right here with us, and Kaidi Ladedi. So still talking on this matter. Before we went on that break, I said I want to play devil's advocate for the governors. You know, they might be scared because probably they don't trust the way the investigation was done. They don't want to have blood on their hands. And your thoughts here? Do you agree with that? Do you agree with it?
I don't even know what the advocacy entails. Because a crime was committed.
Okay.
The policemen did their job. The court system exhausted the process. The law says they've given judgment. Your job as a governor is to sign the warrants.
Okay.
Yorubas will say tibitire. Everything comes with the good and bad side. You can't enjoy the good things about being a governor and dodge what you consider things that are not savory. That's nothing to do with your religion or what to do with your conscience. The law is the law. And you signed on the day you took the oath. You're going to obey the law to the letter. But of course, you can always look for exterior circumstances. But that's either in the end or there. But as far as I'm concerned, we need either to release these people or we help them transit in peace so that we can decongest. Because somebody on death row can no longer be corrected. So they should not even be in the correctional center. They should be somewhere else where things are done for those in transition. So that's why they changed the name from prison to correctional centers. Some of us are just enjoying the scenario. Because you could do a whole book on why names don't matter when it comes to elements like this.
Yes.
So I agree with you on something. A governor may decide that maybe veto is a religious conviction. But what's the second law of the Bible? Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill.
And all that. So that also may come. But I'm sure that somewhere in the laws also say you cannot be a governor. You cannot take the soft and the hard decisions.
Exactly.
That's why you are given the job.
I mean, the caller that...
I think I want to be a bit sentimental here, but I'm not playing the devil's advocate in this case. But I think what is lacking here is the training, the preparation for leadership. You know, I remember one debate, one of these presidential elections in America, when Ben Carson, you know, the doctor,
Carson, yeah, the doctor.
And they actually asked him some hard questions. Do you know what it means to be an American president? You have to declare war. You have to go to war. You have to give an order, get those people off. And they were going to tease him, you know, being an evangelical. And he was actually dodging the question. He couldn't answer it explicitly the way GKB is just saying it. You must count your costs before you go into government. So I see a whole lot of people who just feel that, hey, I don't want to be on record. How many governors have ever done it in Nigeria? They will remind you that after Oshomole, who else has done this? So it's a case of sentiment. It's a case of people who are not fully prepared to know that, excuse me, this person has killed someone and it is God himself that can grant him mercy.
So when we talk about speedy trials, there should be speedy signing of the death warrants as well. Yeah. But the point is, the caller that called in, you know, he said something that, why should we still keep the power to sign death warrant with governors Why can't we give them to the judges?
Let
or maybe
with the judges.
An independent judicial administrative
I
body
feel that should be reviewed.
to do the thing. What do you think?
Well, the governor, as of that point in time, is the aggregation of the entire citizens of the state. It's not the person. It's the office he holds. That's why in most countries, when the president comes in or the governor, we all stand up. The guy may be 16 years old, and you see 80-year-old people standing up. It's not because of the person, because of the power in his office.
I know.
So once you know that, so the question now becomes another question. If not the governor, who?
If the governor can't do it, then?
Because at that point in time, it becomes political. Taking a life under the
representation of the state.
Yeah.
All right, we have Wale calling in from Lagos. Wale, go ahead.
I think we are adding too much emotional sentiment to this thing. It takes a lot to get a person convicted under our law, and we need to be very, very objective. There are other jurisdictions where it is strict liability. If you do this, you are gone for it. So if we will be sending a wrong signal out there if we feel that somebody can be convicted and then just stay on death row for life. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for calling. So
that's what we need to work on. Like you said, leadership is not something you stumble into.
Okay.
That's why, despite all the problems of in the last 20 years, it's very rare to see somebody who was never a commissioner or somebody at the highest level who has become a governor. Most of them, nobody came from outside the system. I may be wrong, but since 1999, most of the governors were basically products of another governor. They may now fight. That's another thing entirely. But most of them will have gone through the system, one way or the other, as commissioner or chief of staff or board of agency. So it's not the lack of training. It's just they lack the willpower.
The willpower.
To do the thing. Because like I said, very rare. I may be wrong. But I don't know anybody who came from the bank and become governor. Maybe 2 or 3. Most of them in the last 25 years have been people in the system.
Very few.
So based on that reality, I think people should do what they are supposed to do within the context of what they signed for. Because once you take that oath, that's what I'm going to do, that means you have no choice in the matter. It's no longer, even the person may be your brother-in-law. I don't want to use mother-in-law because I know some people who are willing to sign that. So it could be your brother-in-law or somebody close to you.
And even maybe we should even double a bit into the religious. The law is the law. Yeah. Even the people who work, who saved our lives, were also executed, even when they were innocent. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the law is the law. What we're simply saying is, let us just follow the law. If you kill, you'll be killed. So the governor should not make us even feel that justice was not even delivered. Don't forget that the judge who delivered this judgment went through a lot to say, hey, you must be killed.
Maybe they fear that maybe an innocent person,
even when they are,
like I said, sentenced to death.
Like I said, the Savior himself, he also was innocent, but the law took its course.
Absolutely.
And we are better for it, talking about Christians. So what I'm just saying is, if it will make the society better, if it will make people to respect the law, if it will make people to know that there's consequence for evil, trust me, the decision has to be taken.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's move straight to our final conversation.